Welcome to a special coach spotlight here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens. And one thing we do here at the Kokomo Post Sports is we love to highlight different coaches around Howard County for getting promoted or just different various things they're doing and celebrating their successes. Speaking of celebrating successes, the Western softball team recently won the 3A state title, and the man to my right is the head coach of the young ladies that are very talented, went 29-2 this year to win en route to winning the state title. It's Bart Miller, not Bart Simpson. Not going to try to put those jokes out here, but Bart, welcome to the show, and also congratulations.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Anytime I think about just being able to win a state championship, it's almost a surreal moment because you build up, the players that are on the team, but then all of a sudden when you get to sectionals, you win that. You get to regionals, you win that. Get to semi-state with a new format, you win that. Then you're going up against a really good team in state that's also done an extensive road of their own to get there, and then you win it. It's not only surreal, but you're full of emotions once that ball was caught. We'll talk about that later here in a second. But what kind of emotions did you feel when that ball was caught to clinch that state championship win?
The first thing that popped into my mind is we did it. They did it. The girls did it. It was, I'm still trying to find the words for it, the emotions I was feeling. I'm very excited, very joyful, very happy. So, you're right. You go through the range of emotions there. I don't want to say I was worried during the game. I just knew I wanted us to get a couple more runs. One run, I wasn't sure that was going to be enough for us, but luckily it was. And it's just I'm ecstatic that the girls did it.
That team this year, we've been following and watching the record and seeing how well they played, undefeated in conference, astonishingly, only one loss in an away game. And I'm like, that's unheard of. It's insane to have that. And then just that run. And unfortunately this year there was a lot of rain delays, postponements, cancellations. The weather, Mother Nature just took over. And that even happened, I think was semi-state. That game got postponed to Monday. You're like, oh, here we go again, another rain delay. But you win that game. In the tournament, was this ultimately something you thought was realistic to happen?
Yeah, I believed it was. I believe we had the girls this year that could make a run. It comes down, tournament time, it comes down to walks and errors. We had the pitching. We had three wonderful pitchers this year, and that we could have started any of the three. Lucy ended up getting the start in the state championship game, but Chloe Lynn and Kylie Miller, their ERAs were under 2 this year.
Wow.
Kylie was, I believe, 10-0 as a starter with 4 shutouts. Chloe Lynn was, I believe, 8-1. Took one of our losses. But both of our losses, ironically, we lost to Mishawaka in the bottom of the 7th at the Caveman Classic tournament on a freak play where a sprinkler head made a girl lose her balance trying to make a catch extend the game, and girls collided and the ball dropped and they scored the winning run that way. And then the Westfield game, we lost that in the bottom of the 8th inning. So we went extra innings. So, we were very close to having a perfect season, but that's something we talk about the girls about. In life, errors happen. You got to move on and keep going, and that's something these girls did, and I'm very proud of the way they handled themselves all year. You
mentioned Lucy George, and I was going to wait originally a little bit later to touch on her, but you mentioned her complete game in the state championship against Tri-West. Complete game shutout, 16 strikeouts, 1 walk, only gave up 2 hits. For a freshman to walk into the moment and know they're starting is one thing. To perform like that, it's something you don't really think about is actually possible, but maybe you did.
Yeah, but very possible with Lucy. She plays very high-level travel ball in the summers, and just her composure throughout the season. We started her off kind of slow. First few games, we would bring her in towards the end, let her get used to playing high school ball and all that, and then we saw shortly after spring break, you know what, she's ready to go. And she performed throughout the season. On the whole year, she only had 9 walks the entire year. So, and that's with the one Saturday. So that was her 9th walk of the entire season. So I think over 130 strikeouts on the year. When there is contact off of her ball, it's normally weak. Not that somebody doesn't get a hold of one. She doesn't miss a spot every once in a while because pitchers do, but the contact is weak when it is made a lot of times, and the defense behind her has been outstanding all year.
What have you done, maybe said to her to kind of help her throughout her freshman year to prepare her for that moment?
Really, honestly, I really didn't have to say a whole lot.
Okay.
She is just very composed and confident in the circle. We would talk strategy, honestly, and I trust the pitchers to tell me, hey, this pitch is working, or don't throw this, or in our Ben Davis tournament, Terre Haute North, there had 2 or 3 girls that she had played travel ball with.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, we don't want to go inside on this girl, or we can't throw the rise ball to her, and things like that. And I would get scouting reports to them and go, hey, we got to stay outside, or we need to jam this player. And, just talking strategy a lot with her, and actually with all of our pitchers that way.
Other pitchers, I know there wasn't another pitcher to pitch for Western in that game. You mentioned Chloe Lynn earlier. Who were some other pitchers that were very pivotal to the successful season that Western had?
Chloe Lynn and Kylie Miller. Those were the 3,
Okay.
and Lucy George. Those were our 3 pitchers all year. We didn't have a set rotation as far as, okay, it's Chloe's night, it's Kylie's night, it's Lucy's night, and then we're going to start it back over.
Yeah.
No. It depended on the matchup. It depended on what the coaches and coaching staff felt would be a better matchup with the hitters that we were going to face. So the girls did a fantastic job. If you know softball pitchers, they want the ball. They always want the ball. But those 3, they really, I don't want to say they didn't care that they didn't get it, because they do, but they didn't mind it as long as we were winning and things were being made. They knew, especially during the tournament run, and I said this before every game to all of them, okay, I believe the regional, Chloe Lynn started. I go, Chloe, you're starting, but leash is kind of short. We can't have a bunch of base runners and all that. She kept them off the bases. So we never had to make a big change or anything really throughout the tournament run, and it was kind of that way throughout the year. During the season, we let them try to work their way out of problems, out of trouble a little bit, to give them that experience if it happened. So I think they did a good job learning how to handle that adversity and fighting back when they did get into trouble.
That coaching tactic to allow them to work themselves out of things during the season. Now, it's when in Indiana, everybody makes a tournament. So that does allow you to know, like, if we do rack up a few more losses, it's not going to hurt us from postseason participation. But also, it could derail you in the postseason because players may lose confidence. They might get into a jam and not be able to get out of it. And it may happen multiple starts in a row. That's a very interesting coaching tactic. Why did you decide to go that route?
You got to handle adversity in life. It's part of interscholastic sports, or what's the word I'm looking for? High school sports.
Yeah.
Okay. There's life lessons that you need to teach the kids too. Things aren't always going to go your way. So how can you work your way out of it? In the circle, there are days when pitches aren't moving. They might be spinning, but they're not moving. Okay, well, how do you adjust to that? Well, okay, instead of starting it here, I need to start it more out or more in, and because it's not breaking as much, or up or down, or whatever the case may be. So we talked to them about that, and actually all the girls on the team, not just the pitchers, hey, you make an error, you got to move on, next play.
Who are some other players? We don't want to just focus on the pitchers. That'd be easy to do. But that's just one position. You can only pitch one person at one time. Who are some other players that stepped up and that made this story, this season, a story that players will be telling in you for a very long time.
You have to start with Brenly Herb. First team All-State, batted .641, I think, on the year, 16 home runs. And during the tournament run and the regional, and then both semi-states, the first semi-state and the second semi-state game, her first time at bat, she hits home runs.
Oh, wow.
And with each of those, we had base runners on. So she batted in the third spot. We had players in front of her able to get on base, and then she's knocking them in. And getting that lead in the first inning really made things a lot easier on the team and on myself. It's like, okay, we got a cushion here. Pressures, I don't want to say the pressure's off, but it doesn't seem as heavy on you when you can get that lead. Our seniors, Chloe Hunt, she batted second for us, started second base, phenomenal glove, great bat as well. She batted in the 2 spot. She was huge for us all year. Sienna Stone was our third senior, batted in the 5 spot, played left field for us. A lot of balls came to her. A lot of teams like to pitch outside. We like to go inside and outside. We don't want people to get used to, hey, it's one spot where the ball's coming and the whole lineup can get there. So we'd move it in and out, and knowing when it came inside, it's probably going to get pulled. Sienna did a fantastic job. In fact, made the final out for us to secure the sectional championship on this run. So her bat was good for us all year as well. Kylie Miller batted leadoff for us. That took us 4 or 5 games to get her there. She's naturally a 3, 4, or 5 hitter. She's more of a power hitter.
Okay.
But we couldn't get people patient enough to see pitches and take the walk. She led the team in walks this year. Just a good eye for the pitch and for going in and getting on base, which is what you want your leadoff to do. And those were, I can go down, if you want me to, I can go down the rest of the list. Cammie Garber obviously made biggest catch in Western softball history on Saturday night there, securing that ball. And Rylan Gibbs was our right fielder. Rylan, I'll tell you what, she made a play in the 4th inning. It was a line drive, and our outfielders know you don't dive for line drives because if you don't stop it, it's going to the fence. But she took a chance. She dove, just came up short, but she positioned herself. I saw the video of it. She positioned her mitt to where if she didn't catch it, it was not going to get by her. And she had her body in position during the dive as well to also block it. So went off her mitt, came forward a little bit. Chloe Hunt was hustling, got out there, got the ball, held the hitter to a single. So Rylan out there in right field, she made a lot of outs as well for us this year. So it's just the whole team was fantastic this year.
Let's talk about the biggest catch in Western softball history. We talked about that when you first got here to the office today, and I saw the video going around, and I saw the hit, I saw where it was going, I saw the catch. You're the head coach of the team. I'm only a person that's watching the team and trying to see, can they make history, which they did. But that catch is the reason why they were able to make history in the Western athletic department. What was going through your mind as the ball was in the air until she caught that ball?
In all honesty, the batter was a very dangerous batter. She had hit in the semi-state. She had hit a 3-run home run in the first semi-state game to advance them past Hamilton Heights, which were the only 3 runs that Tri-West scored. And then in the championship game in the 8th inning, she hit a solo walk-off. Oh my. So she was the one that had propelled them to the state finals. And I went out to the circle. We talked about how we were going to pitch her and what we were going to do. Lucy executed, called a pitch. I'm like, it's either a swing and a miss or a pop-up or a foul ball. And got it, and it was pop fly. And I was sitting on the steps of the dugout calling pitches, and I stood up. I started to walk out. I'm like, it's over. That's a routine fly ball. And then I'm standing there and I'm staring, and I'm seeing Cammie, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is she doing? Where? And I see her get on her horse, so to speak, and busted her butt, as she said in the paper, and dove and made the catch. And I turned to one of my coaches and I go, she made that a lot harder than it needed to be on me. So, but I'm thankful she made the catch. Cammie's a phenomenal athlete. So it doesn't surprise me that she made that catch.
What was the celebration like after the win?
It was fantastic. The girls, they went out, they gathered, they're outside, just outside of second base, mobbing each other, had fun. With the state finals, they've got a program that they like to keep on track. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, hey, got to come in, shake hands, and then you're on the line. But afterwards, it's different because with sectional, regional, semi-state, families allowed out on the field. Mm-hmm. You get pictures and all that, and that's not allowed there at the state finals. So gathered with parents outside of the ballpark there for a little bit, and then the bus ride home was fantastic.
Yeah.
The girls were having a lot of fun, and in fact, I want to thank Rossville Volunteer Fire Department. They gave us an escort from Faith Christian Church, which is just on the east side of Lafayette by the Mire. Mm-hmm. From there all the way through Rossville to State Road 75, and then Harrison Township and Rushville Fire Department, along with the Sheriff's Department, escorted us from State Road 29 all the way back to the school. We had people outside lining the streets in Rushville, and it was just fantastic. Girls were loving it. Coaches were having fun, so it was a great celebration.
What will you remember about this season?
The girls, how hard they worked, how coachable they were. It's difficult to tell somebody, hey, you're doing that wrong, or you need to do it this way. And nobody likes to hear that.
Right.
But our girls took everything in stride this year. When we made corrections, small corrections to them, they were willing to do it, knowing that when you make the correction, it doesn't mean automatic success. You got to keep working at it, and the girls continued to work on those things throughout the year, and that's what helped lead us to this state title.
Don't want to look too far into next season, but there are a lot of young players on this year's team that makes people believe that Western will be successful next year. What are your thoughts about next season?
In all honesty, I really haven't thought about it. I know we got 3 seniors. All 3 of them started. All 3 were big bats for us, so we've got to obviously find replacements for those. We've got a lot of girls that played JV, didn't get necessarily a lot of varsity time this year, that are capable as long as they work. Mm-hmm. And fortunate for us, we got a lot of those girls that do play travel ball, so they're not just sitting at home all summer long or all fall. So we'll see. Obviously, we got those 3, and we've always told the girls, just because you started this game doesn't mean you get automatically start the next game.
Yeah.
So we try to push each other in practice, and that's something those younger girls did with our varsity, is they gave their all at practice every day, and we appreciate that.
That thought there about knowing that just because you start here doesn't mean you're going to start there. That's a thing to say for a coach to say yes, but also it takes a very mature athlete in person to be able to take that, understand it, and realize things are going to shift from game to game. Did all the girls respond in a great way when that was thrown out there to them?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
They understand it. Like I said, they may not like it. We really, I want to say we twice where we like, hey, you're not getting it done. We're going to give so-and-so a shot tonight. And what it seemed to do, which is what it should do, is kind of light a fire under that player to, hey, okay, I got to be better.
Yeah.
And we don't just do it and say, hey, you're not starting tonight, go sit down. It's, you're not starting tonight because of this, or we think she's going to help us better against this pitcher, or whatever. We explain why, okay? You've been loafing at practice. She hasn't. So she's earned that right tonight. And the girls respond to it. So as long as I feel as long as you explain why something is happening, then most people will be on board with it.
What is your final message or even thoughts about Western winning the state title in this season?
Like I said, it's phenomenal. I grew up, I went to Western, graduated from there. I coached basketball there. I was an assistant coach with the boys basketball team from 1999 to 2012, and then the head basketball coach 2012 to 17. My kids got older, more active. I gave that up, but I coached my son in middle school golf. I'm coaching my daughter now with the softball team. Anytime Western wins a state title, I've been fortunate enough to see them all during my lifetime, and it's just a thrill for the community. It's a thrill for the school. It's a thrill for me whenever Western wins a state title, but to be a part of a team that won the state title for Western is something that I'll never forget, and I'm very grateful for.
I really appreciate Bart Miller coming on the show. He's the head coach of the Western Lady Panthers softball team that won the 3A state title. This has been a special coach spotlight here at the Kokomo Post Sports. We'll see you next time.